The father who raised him had to turn him in. Think about that for a second. A 27-year veteran cop, badge on his chest, had to handcuff his own son for murder. Not just any murder. The assassination of Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, confessed to his dad. His dad chose duty over blood. The mother? She's frantically deleting Facebook photos showing her kid with guns since he was a boy. And those bullets, well, they weren't just bullets. They were carved with messages of hate. This is not just another crime story. This is about a family destroyed, a movement under attack, and the evidence that will make your blood boil. So keep on watching. But first, a word from our sponsor. Let me ask you something. If you've built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want it all riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind that big players are buying. You can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. Now, you've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked number one in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. The precious metal specialists are standing by to answer your questions and walk you through every step. Simple, safe, easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com today. That's nextnewsgold.com. It's time to protect what you have built. And the number on the screen, 877-646-5347. We thank Colin and the folks at Noble Gold Investments for supporting this program, because it is what allows us to bring you the truth every single day. Now, the news broke earlier today of the assassin, Tyler Robinson, taken into custody by his own father, and word of his entire neighborhood being evacuated.
But we were preparing to go live and show you this all on air, but moments ago, police told us that we had to evacuate the area, that they got some type of concerning information basically directly in front of or around the family home. We're not certain what that concerning information is, but there was also a chopper above, and authorities told us that we had to clear the area. So that's why I'm on the phone right now. We're not able to show you this on camera. But the neighborhood where the family lived in is a nice, middle class to upper class neighborhood. And we were preparing to go live and show you.
So it's still unclear what exactly triggered that whole thing. Likely, perhaps a bomb threat or something like that. Still unclear. But now people are starting to speak out. One of Tyler Robinson's classmates described him as a weird Reddit kid.
Probably now. I went to school with this Tyler Robinson kid. I'll show y'all. That's him right there. Tyler Robinson. I'm not trying to clout chase, make this shit about me, but I'm not gonna say I knew this kid really well. I didn't know him very well at all, but I definitely saw him for 3 straight years in high school. And the best way I could describe him is just like a Reddit kid. I don't know, I feel like if you were in high school around that same time, and even probably now, 2018, and then those kinds of kids, but that's exactly what he was. All I'm gonna say is this is the kind of shit that happens when you spend way too much time online, and all of a sudden your beliefs are all the way this way or all the way this way, and you do some dramatic shit to please these people that are not your friends. This internet shit is seriously no joke. I went to school with this.
Okay. How do supporters of Charlie Kirk handle their response to the killer's family? Well, how would Charlie Kirk have handled it? Listen.
Wrong. Well, how would Charlie Kirk have handled this? Charlie Kirk would not have gone after those parents who I can assure you are grieving, who are heartbroken. Mm-hmm. I, as a parent, I could say, what did I do wrong? What didn't I do enough of? How could I have prevented this? So these are parents that are heartbroken, and there should be no place for attacking these parents. Certainly not with the mother of the Newtown shooting, Sandy Hook. There's not. We should remember that these individuals are people too, and especially given that the father had done the right thing. Remember, there are other parents who actually sent their child away or sent them to a foreign country to avoid, facing the consequences of their actions, and how very difficult that is for a parent to do. So I would say, please, Charlie Kirk would not have done that. He would not have asked for you to do that. He would have asked for the person he interacted with to step up to be the next leader. And the best thing you can do for Charlie Kirk and his memory and the legacy he left behind is to ensure that legacy can go forward, to engage in conversation, to engage in debate, to engage in discourse, because what he was most about was free speech, and not free speech that was inflammatory or that was derogatory, but this engagement to how do you persuade people, knowing facts and going forward and engaging with them. So I would say that's the best thing people can do to honor Charlie Kirk and his family.
And that's the worst part about social media, is that you have these drive-by attacks in the comment section over and over again. Those people are already entrenched in their mindset. But how funny is it, though, when you actually sit down with those people face to face, your friends, and you have conversation, dialogue, and you're just sitting across the table from someone, and you find common ground. And that's all that Charlie was trying to do. Governor Spencer Cox confirms the death penalty is currently being sought for Charlie Kirk's assassin.
That he started the press conference by saying, "We got him." Do authorities believe that Tyler Robinson acted alone?
Yes, Brett. They're very confident right now. Obviously, the investigation is ongoing. They're still following every lead. We appreciate the public who has reached out, but every piece of evidence we have so far makes it very clear that the assassin acted alone.
So I saw you read from the probable cause affidavit from the arresting officer, in which you talked about the rifle, the gun. Is it the authorities' belief that he assembled the weapon on the roof and then jumped off the roof with the weapon and then walked away with it and then left it in the woods?
Yeah, so that's what they're working on now. It's not my belief that it was a weapon that would be assembled. It was likely carried up there with him, but again, that is all still being investigated. But yes, came off the roof and then he tried to hide the weapon in the woods in a towel, and then that's where police found it later that evening.
And when we see him walking down the street on this video with the gait, the limp, are we to assume that the gun is in a pant leg? Is that what authorities are saying?
That's a very distinct possibility.
Okay. As this is the video walking down the street, by the way, keep going with that video. I have one more question on the specifics. Was the round that hit Charlie Kirk recovered? And has it been matched to the rifle that has been recovered?
So all of that is being processed right now. I believe that the round has been recovered, and so that evidence has been taken back to Quantico to be processed, and that's happening even as we speak.
Yeah, there's just all of these specifics as you get all of this information, and we're trying to kind of piece it together. And I appreciate it, Governor, since you were reading some of that earlier today. Let's talk about the big picture here and what you take from what appears to be this shooter's motive.
Yeah, well, with the big picture, I think is pretty clear. This is someone who hated Charlie Kirk and hated his message and hated what he was doing, and decided to use political violence to end his life. And that is, as I said earlier, that's not just an attack on Charlie Kirk, which is devastating, and our hearts are broken for him, for his family. I've had a chance to talk to his parents, just devastating. But it's the reason you're spending so much time on this, the reason every media outlet is spending so much time on this, the reason I'm talking to you about this is that this is an assault on not just him, but on all of us. It is an assault on the very fabric of our country, of our democratic republic, of our ability to speak freely, and we cannot take that lightly. It is the most serious abdication of our responsibility as citizens that exist, and we have to snuff it out.
You know, you've been on the program before, and we've had you on Common Ground with a Democratic governor talking about trying to bring the country together. You expressed some of that today at the press conference. It is a tough time, you have to admit, Governor, in the wake of this.
I do, and look, people are angry right now, and they don't need me lecturing them on that. Anger is a very normal response. It's one that I've felt. It's one that I've expressed, and that's why I thought it was so helpful. At 2:00 this morning, I was scrolling through Charlie's Twitter feed, where he's talking about forgiveness, where he's talking about how if we stop talking to each other, that's when the violence starts, and so what he believed in, I think, is what we need right now, and certainly as I was able to talk to his family, they agree with that. They know that Charlie was about nonviolence. You heard President Trump say that as well, that we all need to embrace nonviolence. The question I always have is what happens next if we become violent because of violence against us. Where does that lead to? And it leads to some very, very dark places.
And dark places indeed for the assassin of Charlie Kirk. Here's a Marine sniper, Justin Governale, on Insta explaining the shot.
Angle only. What do you think about this Charlie Kirk situation? Do you believe that this individual was a professional shooter, considering your background?
I do not believe it was a professionally trained shot, because at no point in my sniper training was I taught to aim for the neck. And a lot of people keep saying, oh, but it's because there was an angle. Angle only necessarily matters, at least from my training, at 30 degrees plus. From 200 yards on a second, third story building, let's call it a third story building, that's still like a, 5-10 degree angle. I don't think it would impact. At 300 yards in the Marine Corps, I can literally say, do I want to hit the left nostril or the right nostril, right? At that short of a distance, let's call it 200 yards, it would only make about 1.5 inches high at about 200 yards. And that's if it was zeroed at 100 yards, right? If it was zeroed at 200, if they were trained professionally, they would have zeroed their rifle or at least gotten the data. I don't personally think they were professionally trained because of the first thing I said before I even analyzed angle or any of that was shot placement. This is not, it's viable in the sense of mortality, right? Or fatality, but it's not a viable shot in terms of immediate incapacitation, which is, I'm sure, is what they were trying to accomplish.
But what you're saying is, if it was a professional sniper, given the distance, given the conditions, it's not gonna. The shot's not gonna pull from the incapacitation zone.
That's too far. This is too far. There's a video of the shooter in broad daylight on a rooftop. Whenever you set up a sniper position, a sniper hide, what's the most obvious spot that you're sniper? If you have no training,
you're silhouetting.
First thing you're gonna do is look for a rooftop, right? There was a spot under that was shaded. At the very least, be in the shade to have less of a profile. So if they were professionally trained,
they would understand their exposure.
Yeah, their exposure. Yeah. They would have taken a window, shaded it, taken the shot from there, still had an escape route from there. And I also heard that a rifle has been recovered. In the Marine Corps, you call that target indicator, anything a sniper does or fails to do, which reveals yourself, position, or equipment to the enemy.
What do you think about this Charlie Kirk situation? Do you believe that
he was not a trained sniper? Here's drone footage from Taylor Hansen. We played this the other day. Gives you a bird's eye view of the situation immediately following the assassination. And you can see the video is about 2 minutes long, but rather remarkable visualization of this. At first, I thought it was a CGI recreation, but no, this is real video of the grounds, and you can see where the shooter's location is there. So it's very likely that even that sniper you just heard discussing how this person probably mapped out this entire thing for days, probably using Google Maps or some mapping software, to figure out exactly where the the best position would be. Now, he wasn't a member of the school, which is interesting. He did know that he was going to be attending the school, that Kirk was going to be there. So I'm sure all this information, these questions are going to be answered in the days ahead. And I'm glad that he's in captivity now. I'm glad that he's caught, so he could not do anything to himself that would end up causing even more questions to be asked. There was a comment on one of our videos from yesterday where someone raised that we'd never find out who this person was, or we'd find out that he did something to himself. And then, of course, the conspiracies would just go into overdrive and we'd never have any answers. Well, thankfully, his father convinced him to turn himself in, and now we will get those answers. I'm sure that as he is being interrogated by the FBI and by local law enforcement, that we will find out exactly how this entire scenario unfolded so that we can perhaps find a way to prevent something like this. But, I mean, just by looking at this video alone, like, there's just too many places for somebody to hide out and take a shot. I mean, just the position of the tent here. I mean, it's already lower than all these terrorist areas where people could sit. And then you have all of the buildings surrounding it. I hate to say it, but it's a perfect location for something like this to go down. And with Charlie's limited security, Charlie's not he's not a member of the administration. He doesn't get Secret Service protection. So, if Donald Trump was here speaking at this event, in the same location, every single one of those vulnerabilities would have been addressed. Now, of course, they didn't address the one vulnerability in Butler, which, of course, we still don't have answers for. But with this situation here, I mean, yeah, the Secret Service would have addressed all these vulnerabilities. They probably wouldn't even have chosen this location. But Charlie wanted to speak to the people. He wanted to debate. He wanted to discuss. He wanted to have conversation. And that's where he chose, at UVU. So let's continue here. We have some more. We're finding out that he was not an affiliated member of a party. We do know his family. They were Trump-supporting conservative family, that he had veered so far left at some point that it was strange for the family to have someone in their family that had veered so far left. Tyler James Robinson was a student in the electrical apprenticeship program at Dixie Tech in St. George, Utah. The college president sent a text message out to students. This is a screenshot of that text message. Dear students, please be aware an arrest has been made in the killing of Charlie Kirk. The suspect, Tyler James Robinson, is a student at the Dixie Tech electrical apprenticeship program. And, of course, they tell the students that if they have any questions, that there will be help. Scott Jennings, one of my favorite pundits on CNN, who goes into the lion's den every single day there, posted this 4 hours ago, that the man who killed Charlie Kirk is now in custody, thank God, but America is desperate to know why this happened. Our first clue lies in the engravings on the shooter's shell casings. Hey, fascists, catch. Yes, it is time to have this conversation. Let's listen.
The man who murdered Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Tyler Robinson, age 22, of Utah. What does the evidence tell us? Well, he engraved a few things on the bullet casings. Hey, fascists, catch. That's one of them. Tyler Robinson appears to have been brainwashed to believe that conservatives are fascists and Nazis, and that they must therefore be eliminated, murdered. Whatever gave him that idea? Well, here's a minute of voices of people that you will recognize that ought to make it pretty clear. Let's take a listen to this, courtesy of my friend, the Western Lensman from X.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
Whatever could have given Tyler Robinson the idea that Charlie Kirk and conservatives are fascists who want to destroy the country? We may never know, folks. We may never know. Robinson engraved his views on these bullets because for the last 10 years, the American left, Democrats, and yes, I'm sorry to say, many people in the media have dedicated themselves to branding Republicans and conservatives as fascists, Nazis. The left normalized this language, and the media platformed and endorsed it. The brand was created. The talking points went out, as they say. And it is now an article of faith on the American left that if you have voted for Donald Trump or espoused conservative views, you are a fascist, someone who wants to destroy the Constitution and our country. Every conservative view is met with, well, that's hateful. Every conservative view is met with, well, that view is killing people. Tax cuts, killing people. Cut government spending, killing people. Men can't get pregnant, killing people. The man who murdered Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Tyler Robinson.
Well said. And those words were beat into the heads of the left for years and years and years. Now, we talk about planting seeds here all the time. We're planting seeds because we want them to grow. But it's the fruit of that tree. What is the fruit? The fruit that bear from the tree, from those seeds, is rotten to its core. Rotten to its core. And Robinson was feasting on that fruit. It's like so many other people on the left, feasting on that fruit, growing delusional with hatred, blind rage, as you've seen. What I have seen posted by people on the left in these last couple of days is incomprehensible. The vile poison spewing from these people's mouths. I don't know how somebody could have that kind of hate within them. But it's because the seeds have been planted by people like Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, other people, even Joe Biden. Here is Steve Bannon posted this video. This is 7 hours ago. Says the father knew. He says the father is an accessory. That's why he turned him in. He says it's not some great Christian good. He raised a demon. Now, I think that might be a little harsh. I think that the father was trying to raise a good conservative. But that son went off to college, got brainwashed by the left, got trapped in an echo chamber, feasted on the rotten fruit of the seeds from those trees that were planted by those radical leftist narratives. So we can listen to Steve for a minute here, but I'm not ready to demonize the family at this point. I think the family knew what they had to do. Imagine having to turn in your own son.
show, the great team. I want to correct Jack Posobiec. And by the way, we're going to toss right now to the Charlie Kirk show, the great team of Andrew, Tyler, and Jack from Charlie Kirk's studio with Turning Point. Fantastic guys in Rhetoric. I disagree with one thing, Jack. The father knew he's an accessory. That's why he turned him in. It's not some great Christian good. He raised a demon. He raised a demon. He knew they were going to.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, I mean they are arresting parents for the sins of the children these days. I mean that has happened. So maybe there wasn't something so beautiful and good about that. Maybe he was just trying to cover his own ass. I don't know. Those are questions that will be answered in the days to come. Here is a picture of Erica Kirk raising up what appears to be the cross that Charlie wore. One of the first images that we have seen of Erica since her terrible loss. And there is a lot of misinformation floating around, so be careful what you see. For example, this picture of Tyler Robinson. Now, on the left is the actual picture, but someone went ahead and manipulated it and put a Trump shirt on him. I guess that image was shared, the one on the right, shared by a large X account. And I think they had like several million followers. And then it was just shared all across social media as if it was real so that they could demonize Trump supporters. The affidavit, the probable cause affidavit, was released earlier today. Stephen Crowder posted it. And I went ahead and did an optical character recognition, posted the entire thing. You can go to my X account and you can review it for yourself if you would like to. It is quite detailed. But this is the actual affidavit that was published by Stephen Crowder.
Like Clout Chase
goes into the specifics, very detailed, about the entire arrest, how they found him. And there's been some question about the roommate. And in the initial press conference that was held this morning, when they talked about Discord messages that were found, it appears as though the roommate. Now, and initially, I thought perhaps the roommate was in on it. That's not the case. The roommate was questioned and then revealed that there was messages from Taylor discussing the gun, the location, and the etchings on the bullets. And that is what the roommate revealed to law enforcement, who allowed them to have access to the Discord messages. But if you want to read the entire document, it's here on my X account. Rather lengthy, but it answers a lot of questions, but still has a lot more. A lot more questions that we have to get answers for. Alex Morrow writing this, that the assassination of Charlie Kirk raises urgent questions not only about campus safety and Antifa threats, but the state of free speech itself. If Charlie Kirk was not safe to peacefully sit and talk on campus, then what is the First Amendment actually worth? We are failing to protect free speech, and that must end now. Free speech is the pressure release valve. If you cannot speak freely, then everything is bottled up. You don't have the ability to express yourself. And that's when bad things happen. The only thing that we have in this country to prevent horrible things from happening is our ability to have dialogue, communication. But when one side of the conversation is shut down, as we saw during COVID, as we saw during the 2020 election, when censorship starts to creep and people lose their voice, it is a very dangerous place to be in this country.
God, the next person who wants to bring I don't know who the blame falls on. I will tell you, local law enforcement and the university are the first places that come to mind, but it's probably shared. It probably goes beyond that as well. And this person seemed to have a clear shot at Charlie. The person appears to be a young man, but very skinny. I don't think it's a trans person, but according to a report I'm seeing from the Wall Street Journal, that they had some inscriptions on the ammunition that were trans and in Antifa. And I will tell you from firsthand knowledge, because I communicate with Charlie on a daily basis until yesterday, and it's not all dramatic, extended communications like our once-a-week chats on the internet, but we're always corresponding to some degree. And I know there was concern and trepidation about Antifa specifically about this event. I don't think he thought he was going to get assassinated. I don't think he would have shown up if he knew it was that bad. But if we really are a country of the First Amendment, if we really are a country that values free speech and believes in free speech, then Charlie Kirk needs to be safe on campus when he needs to go. And whoever is the brave soul that attempts to follow in Charlie's footsteps and once again reach out to these students who still will be there and they still need to hear this message of American exceptionalism, of Judeo-Christianity, of science, of the glory of America, the glory of God. The next person who wants to bring that message to the campus, they should be assured that they will be safe. Of all of our government waste and all of our government largesse, why is it that we do not protect our First Amendment for those who speak it the most boldly? I don't know. I've got some theories.
Well, again, it's an independent event. It's not, I mean, could Charlie have called up President Trump and said, hey, I need additional security here? And would President Trump have offered it? I'm sure he would have. Tyler Robinson's mother, Amber Jones Robinson, is erasing photos from her Facebook account. And I don't blame her, because the photos do show a family that enjoyed firearms. That is our right. It's our Second Amendment right. And of course, it only makes her family look worse. But who could have ever imagined? They tried to raise their child in a conservative home, but he became radicalized. And the education that he received with respect to guns was then used in the most horrific way. Tyler Robinson is a 22-year-old Utah man who confessed to his father, who is a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department. His mother, Amber Robinson, works for Intermountain Support Coordination Services, a Utah State contracted services agency. Here's President Trump on Fox and Friends this morning.
Very intent on in Utah, they have the death penalty. And you have a very good governor there. The governor, I've gotten to know him. The governor is very intent on the death penalty in this case, and he should be. In North Carolina, you also have it, but we have to make sure that happens. That was a horrific crime. In Utah, they have the death penalty, and you have
the death penalty being pursued. Here's the moment when Governor Cox describes the engravings on the assassin's bullets.
We have that the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this question mark?" Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao Ciao." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
So those engravings are all related to anti-fascist remarks. The Bella Ciao song, an anti-fascist song sung during World War II. Obviously, hey fascist, catch. I mean, come on. It's quite clear. Here's President Trump discussing the turning in earlier today.
Great, not perfect. Yeah, I think that I don't want to go too far. I'd like to tell you some stories at how it happened, but essentially somebody that was very close to him turned him in. And that happens when you had some of those good shots. Somebody is going to say, whether it's a parent or whatever, I'd rather not say right now. They're going to announce it today, sometime later, probably talk about that. But somebody close to him turned him in. You know, they said, whoa. It's interesting where we had very good pictures, but not great, not perfect. And when you look at it, what happened is somebody, and this happens a lot. It happened with the crazy Boston bomber. It happened with others. Somebody that's close recognizes even a little tilt of the head, which nobody else would do. And somebody that was very close to him said, that's him. And essentially went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but you know, I'm just giving you, based on what I'm hearing, they'll give you a much more active. I just heard about it 5 minutes before I walked in. As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they wanted. So
here's the original post from Steven Crowder. Mug Club undercover obtained Utah County Sheriff's Office internal documents regarding suspected Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson. So all this news breaking today, and the story's not over. But all I can say is pray, pray, pray. Donald Trump said, fight, fight, fight. But in this moment, I think it's time that we just pray. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So why does this matter? It matters because we're watching the death of free speech in real time. Charlie Kirk spoke truth, and they killed him for it. A father who had to turn in his own son. That is the price of this poisonous rhetoric the left has been spreading for 8 years. They called him Hitler, they called him a fascist, and some disturbed kid believed it. And those engraved bullets, they weren't just meant for Charlie, they were meant for all of us who dare to speak up. They want you silent or dead, period. So here's my question. Should leftist rhetoric that leads to actual political violence, should it be persecuted as incitement? Where does free speech end? Can it? Let's have a conversation about this in the comments below. And if you want to support our work here, you can take a look at our merch shop. It's linked down below, because show the world you will not be silenced. This is Gary Franchi for the Next News Network.